Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Time War podcast. Today we're just gonna do another short match reaction to both of the semifinals, PSG Leipzig, Bayern Lyon. So let's go to you, Anish, first. Oh, and by the way,
Yeah,
we're joined today by Ahmed. Say hi, Ahmed.
Hi.
Oh,
It's Ahmed, not Ahmed, but
oh well.
no, we
Okay.
move.
All right, Anish. I'll give. Give. Oh, what's the word I'm looking for? I'll just hand over to you. There you go. Okay.
yeah. So in the quarterfinals, I think few people could doubt that Bayern was the most convincing team. They
Yep.
won the most comprehensive victory a team could win. They scored 8 goals. They pretty much smashed every team they've met up to that point.
Mhm.
PSG on the other hand weren't really that convincing. They missed a lot of chances against Atalanta, and they really left it late. I mean, I feel like they were the better team, but at the same time, one could even say they were kind of lucky to win that game given the way it went. I think Tuchel definitely made the right subs. I think Choupo-Moting had a huge impact that most people didn't really see coming. And then we went on to the semis, and PSG actually had a really, really convincing and comprehensive win themselves yesterday. And I think they defended really well, especially considering Navas was injured. We believe he'll be back for the final.
Yep.
And I think they attacked really well. They pressed really well from minute one. Leipzig was on the back foot pretty much all the time. PSG were really unlucky. I think they hit the bar, once or twice. And I think Neymar definitely hit both goalposts. He hit the right goalpost at the beginning and then the left goalpost at the end of the game with that free kick. And so like it could have easily have been more. I think Leipzig were very limited to some half chances here and there, but PSG were definitely the dominant team and they set themselves up really well for the final.
Yep.
And in this game, honestly, I feel like with today's game, the scoreline was a bit deceiving. The scoreline was a bit deceiving because Lyon at the beginning, they did everything right. Like pretty much everything that we said they should do. They played a lot smarter than Barca did. I think they congested the middle really well. They defended any crosses coming in.
Mhm.
I feel like they were really, really good on transitions, especially. I think those balls over the top, when Bayern's defense met attackers that could keep up with them in terms of pace,
Yeah.
Leon were actually getting in behind, a great many times in the beginning, especially in the first, 15 to 20 minutes.
Yep.
They created a lot of chances, like five. I can think of five really good chances they created.
That Depay chance,
Um,
man. Woo. So
mm,
close.
and especially the Depay chance, dude, which he had to score that. Like, I feel like against this Bayern team, dude, like they'll give you chances, but you have to score first. You know
Yep.
what I mean? You really have to score first, and that'll become important for the final.
Mhm.
But if I'm PSG and I'm looking at that, dude, like I'm wary, but I'm not scared.
Yeah.
I'm worried, but I'm not scared. So, like, Ahmed, take it away. Which of the semifinals did you watch? If not both of them, and like, what did you think of both the teams? What do you think of their strengths and weaknesses, and who were your men of the matches?
hmm Well, I watched both, PSG and Bayern Munich semifinals, and first starting with PSG Leipzig, I feel, PSG really demonstrated that they know how to press teams, which is
Mhm.
something that I don't know how it's going to work against Bayern Munich if they can really do the same thing, but they show that they can, and they show that they are there defensively solid. Marquinhos had an amazing standout performance, I feel,
Yep.
defensive wise for PSG when he was called upon. And then in attacking, the only thing that's still lacking, I feel, is Mbappe and Neymar's finishing.
Yep.
And I feel that could be
For
a
sure.
that could be a tad bit better. Besides that, I feel PSG, they did everything they had to do right. It wasn't the most interesting game to watch, but everything they had to do, they did right. They forced mistakes, they created chances, from set pieces, from open play, they did everything they had to do. And then, the more interesting game, moving on to that, the Lyon game, I feel 3-0 is a little bit of flatter for Bayern Munich because Lyon, like you said, Lyon played very well, especially the first, say, 20 minutes.
Yep.
They were having a great game. They did everything right. And see, this is the thing with teams that play a high line like Bayern Munich. I remember we said that since I said that Lyon this is what they did against City, except it worked against City because City they don't have the finishers that Bayern Munich have,
Yep.
and Lyon definitely got the chances. Now imagine what PSG could do with
Oh
actual,
yeah.
a lot of fast wingers and more capable attackers. Not to mention Lyon essentially laid out a blueprint for neutralizing Muller and Lewandowski. Now,
Mhm.
sure, they didn't win. They didn't win the game, and they ended up losing 3-0, but Muller and Lewandowski were out of the game for the vast majority of the game.
Yep.
They succeeded in that, and doing that, and PSG obviously being better defensively can actually pull that off and maybe concede less than Lyon did. So I think Lyon laid out a blueprint not just on how to attack
Mhm.
Bayern Munich, but also how to defend against them, which I feel PSG have to use against Bayern Munich in the final. And man of the match, obviously, I'd say Gnabry for that game. I don't think there's any other like he scored
That's true.
both the first two goals, two most important. So I'd say him, man of the match.
Neuer also saved a bunch of chances. I remember
So
seeing
is
some of
that it
that.
for your pretty much your analysis and take of the game?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay. I think that was pretty thorough. I think you covered all the bases. And definitely what Hansi Flick said after the game, which I read on Yahoo Sports. He said that we have to tighten up our defense because at some point he realized that they were a bit too open in that game, and PSG like have better players than Lyon. So yeah, like I mean we're gonna have to tighten our defense now. You have to take that with a grain of salt, and here's why, right? Bayern have been playing the same exact way every single game of the season. So when he says we have to tighten our defense, that doesn't necessarily mean, and I really don't think this is going to happen. I don't think Bayern is going to hold like a deep line in this game. I really don't think they're going to hold a deep line. They're still going to hold a very high line. And PSG at times are still going to go get in behind regardless of what game plan PSG adopt to use. But this is a little like teaser for our preview. What I think PSG have to do is do what Lyon did. Like look at the last two games of Bayern Munich, right? Really look at the last two games of Bayern Munich and do what Lyon did and don't do what Barca do. What did Barca do that was wrong? They played a high line just like how Bayern played a high line, and they played an open game and they tried to engage Bayern on the flanks, right? So by playing an open game, and like that really doesn't play to your strengths, and that doesn't really neutralize Bayern, honestly. Like if both teams play open, the better chance Bayern has of winning the game. And I think the next game, it's really going to come down to two things: how good is PSG's finishing, which is the most important thing,
Mhm.
because they've missed a lot of good chances, and ultimately it matters who scores first. I think the team that scores first, I think will go in a long way in determining the game, because in the last two games, Bayern haven't started well, because let's remember, even Barcelona in the first 20 minutes got a lot of chances. Much like how Lyon got a lot of chances in this game.
Yep.
But
even
like
times in the
Lyon,
second half they were getting in behind, like for the Suarez goal.
yeah, they were. And the problem is, like both these teams missed their chances. And Bayern eventually like they grew into the game. They created chances of their own, and they ended up scoring and winning the game. But like the thing is, PSG, they're gonna get chances at the beginning of the game, and I feel like what would really help PSG is like even if Bayern are a little bit more conservative, if PSG themselves start with a conservative game plan and sit a bit deep, like I mean Bayern will have to, and they will start to move men up and like press forward and hold a high line. I mean it's just like instinctively like what they're going to do. They're like I mean when they see the other team dropping off, they're gonna like push up, and that'll create space in behind for PSG. And so PSG have to then exploit that, and they have to get the first goal. Like if PSG want to win, they have to score first, and exploit Bayern's weaknesses right away to the maximum extent, which means getting on the score sheet ultimately.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And like I feel like this is basically what our tactical analysis, which is going to be dropping very soon, is going to be discussing, and we're going to be discussing ways in which Bayern is going to win, and we're going to be discussing, and I think like which is a little bit more interesting, is what PSG can do and what game plan they're going to do, because the game plan that PSG adopt and who is going to score first in that game, whether it's Bayern or PSG, I think that ultimately will determine who the winner is. But we'll see soon. Like what the predictions are and what the tactics that both those teams can do.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah, well, for Bayern Munich, it's not necessarily about being conservative or being open, because obviously you don't change something that's working and it's been working for them all season.
Exactly.
It's just five, like even for the back line being 5 to 7 yards behind, that could make the difference. Because at times against Barca, it was suicidal. Like between the own goal and Bayern Munich's first goal, Barca were getting in behind a lot. It wasn't just like they were opening up that defense, and if Barca can do that, like that's gonna be a worry for like. I think Bayern Munich might also want to start conservative, like just for the start to feel out the game. I think both teams, like we're gonna see a very cagey first 10-15 minutes of that final. That's all I'm gonna say right now.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think based on the way this game went, we are gonna see like a little bit more cagey first 15 minutes. But I don't think like that's the game the way it should go, and if Flick is smart, that's the way it will go. But I wouldn't be surprised if Bayern steps out like anyway, because the thing is that they've been doing that all season. So I don't think that would really surprise me either.
Yeah, but I mean, at times you have to adapt a little bit, and I wouldn't be like, for example, for Bayern Munich, like I said, maybe like opening 10-15 minutes, and then after that, you feel out the game, and both teams will probably be doing that. So I feel that the first 15 minutes are probably gonna be very, tactical and very like not a lot of chances.
It'll be measured, and I think
Yeah,
they'll
that's
be
the way
just
it works.
like probing basically. Both teams are going to be probing and like feeling each other out.
Yeah, for
Definitely.
And I think that kind of wraps it up. I would have to say one last thing, which is I think this is the final that we really needed. I think this is the final that we needed. We didn't need another underdog. Like I said in the last video, we didn't need another underdog like in these circumstances. Because if Leipzig was in that final, Bayern would win 100%. I mean, and anybody thinks otherwise is just an idiot. And if Lyon went through, I mean, I feel like they would have given PSG a tougher time. But I think ultimately, like PSG somehow would have found a way to win. When you have two teams from the same country playing in a final, the more dominant team from the league and the better team, from that league usually ends up winning.
True. Very true. Well, we're very close to the final round. Well, what was it, like 4 days left? No, not 4 days.
Sunday. Sundays Champions League,
and
then
I know it's Sunday.
Yeah, it is
Friday's
4 days,
Europa.
actually. It is 4 days.
Oh, nobody cares about Europa. Who cares?
It's the appetizer for the main course.
Because
it is.
Like, if both whoever wins Europa, aren't they already qualified for the Champions League?
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. What a waste.
But, I mean,
yeah.
It'll be interesting to say the least.
That's true.
It kind of reminds me of this final, but on a lesser scale. Like lower quality, but like the same way in terms of tightness. Like I wouldn't be surprised if either team won.
Is it gonna be renamed the Sevilla League?
If Sevilla win, it should be. Just like if Zidane had won this year, it should have been renamed the Zidane Champions League.
The ZCL, yeah. The Zidane Champions League.
The Zizou League.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. And for sure, we're gonna do probably maybe tomorrow. We'll do an analysis for the final.
Yep.
And we might have a bigger crowd here, so we'll see how that goes. And then for sure, obviously, we'll do a reaction to the final, and then talk about maybe whoever wins what would be their chances for next Champions League.
Yeah.
Going into next season. And it's kind of sad to think about how Sunday is going to be the end of football until. Actually, no, but
for 6 days.
For 6 days.
Community Shield is August 29th. That's usually the first somewhat competitive fixture of the season.
That's true. And then doesn't Premier League start in like October, right?
September 12th.
Oh my God, September, Jesus.
I'm pretty sure it's September. I know it's the second week of September. Pretty sure the date.
And we're gonna have to talk about the implications of the season as well. How fatigue is gonna play a factor, because like these players are being really overworked right now.
Yep, that's for sure.
And also how the international scheme is gonna be set up, because qualifiers were still being played, and because is there gonna be international breaks, or there's just gonna be breaks period, or like what's gonna be the?
That's true.
Like the conclusion with.
I don't know, but we'll see. If it'll all the news will come soon, I guess. And also, if there's any like big transfers that happen. We might talk about that. Like maybe Koulibaly is going to Man City, or Van de Beek is coming to Barcelona. Well, that's
Messi to Man City, but probably won't happen. But if it
Messi,
does.
Messi to Messi. Imagine, man. Gee. Well, I heard they said that they're willing to pay anything.
Well, I mean, the only two teams that can afford it and will get away with FFP are PSG and City. That's all I can think off the top of my head. And PSG don't have the willingness to do it.
Well, how does
So I
fucking
feel like City.
how does Inter play into that? I thought they aren't they like poor as hell? How are they going to afford Messi?
I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna do that without breaking FFP, and
Gotta sell like
they don't have the backing of an oil-rich country to get out of.
gotta sell like half their team just to
Yeah,
get
Inter
Messi.
Milan, like the only team I could see that has the ability to and the willingness to do it is City.
Yep. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so any final thoughts from you guys?
No, that'll be all. We'll definitely continue discussing the final itself like tomorrow.
Yes, for sure. Okay, guys, so that's been it for today. And we'll see you probably tomorrow, I guess. So, all right. See you later.